Hey, welcome into the Irish NFL show. Thursday night football, under a week away now from Thanksgiving. Can't wait. Delighted to be here. Colin Cronin, Brian O'Leary. How we doing, boys? Good.
Very good. I think a really interesting game this evening, and we've got three great guests joining us.
And we'll get the guest on in 2 seconds. Love the haircut, Colin. Brian, welcome in. I say you're delighted with that Garth Brooks news this morning, Brian. You must be delighted.
Absolutely thrilled. Yeah, two concerts, two concerts in Ireland this next September. The only thing I took from it was it's on the weekend in which the next NFL season starts. That's about as much interest I have in going to see a Garth Brooks concert in Ireland.
You'll be there then. Let's bring on our first guest because we'll try and get chatting them. Obviously, Patriots Falcons tonight in the Mercedes Benz. I was about to say Superdome there. It's not in Atlanta. That game in Atlanta, I think, for the first time since that infamous game. A lot has changed since then, but delighted to welcome Jim McBride from the Boston Globe back to the show. Jim, you were on in the off season. You were on, I think, around the start of the season as well. Jim, honestly, it's an honor to have you on again, especially on the day that it is and so close to the game.
Oh, I appreciate you having me on anytime.
It's been an interesting few weeks for Patriots fans, Jim.
Yeah, they've been on a nice little roll here. You know, when you think about it, they probably could have beat the Cowboys back in that overtime game. So they could be looking at a 5-game winning streak instead of 4. But things have really come together for them on both sides of the ball. I think we always knew that this defense was talented and that they were going to keep them in the game. Most of the time. And now that Mac has really accelerated his learning curve. It's kind of that old formula that the Patriots had during the first part of their dynasty in the early 2000s where, really solid defense, punishing running game, and a quarterback who just doesn't make mistakes. I hear a lot of people talk about Mac as a game manager, and that's kind of what Tom Brady was his first few years in the league. And nobody had a problem with that. And obviously he developed into, more than a game manager. But, you see Mac on a similar track right now.
Yeah, absolutely, Jim. And I think I saw a really interesting piece in The Ringer today talking about, how important the landing spot is for QBs and the team having a plan and stuff like that. And one of the interesting things was a statistic that was in that from which said that this season, the league has been 62% pass. The Patriots just over the 50% mark in terms of run. So once again, Bill Belichick is zigging when everyone else is zagging. Just your thoughts, I suppose, before we get into Matt Jones and everything else on the Patriots run game. I mean, down RB1 essentially last week didn't seem to impact in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and even when you go, you look back at training camp, and this was a real position of strength even back then with Sony Michel was still here, James White before he got hurt, and you kind of thought that they were going to be a very running back heavy system, but Ramondre's development and training camp allowed them to trade Sony. I don't think they would have done that if they hadn't seen, glimpses from this guy. When Damian Harris has emerged clearly as a running back one in this league. So they love to pound the ball. It was looking kind of scary last week when neither Ramondre or Damian could practice because they both suffered concussions on the same series against Carolina, but Ramondre was able to come back. But I think that game plan kind of showed the genius of Josh McDaniels because he clearly had a game plan in place just in case neither guy could play. Lots of screen passes. He gave the ball to Kendrick Bourne 3 times on sweeps. He had almost 50 yards on 3 carries. So they know how to make up when a guy's not there. They always have that contingency plan, and Josh has really. I think he had some questionable play calling in that Texas game, I think week 5, and a lot of people were getting on him from that. But he's really turned it on. And he would even acknowledge himself that wasn't his best game as a play caller.
Jim, as I said, over the past month, everybody's raving to a certain extent about Mac Jones' performances. But is it coinciding with how much the offensive line has improved? Because early on in the season, they seem to be struggling. And in the past month, they've seemed to come on leaps and bounds.
Yeah, injuries were just killing that group, which was, projected to be a very solid group in training camp, and everyone thought it was going to be a real strength of the team. But, injuries to Shaq Mason had injuries. Trent Brown had an injury. Isaiah Wynn was on the COVID list, and Wenu was on the COVID list. So it was really kind of it was kind of patchwork for a while. But then the last 4 weeks, they've Trent Brown came back last week, but even before that, they had kind of established themselves with that group of five that, they love to have the same group of five. They don't like bringing guys in and out on that offensive line. Continuity is so important. And, they've had that. And now they've got Onwenu, who is kind of the swing guy and really would be starting for most teams in this league. So that is now a position of strength after they settled those injuries down and kind of all got on the same page. And, that's obviously coincided with the rebirth of the running game. And, and it certainly helps Mac to know that he's got two guys, on the edges that protect him and have his back, literally.
Jim, I'm going to take you away from the Patriots just 2 seconds. Looking at the AFC East in general, we were fortunate enough to see the Dolphins play in London a month ago. We've had the Mike White experience, the Bills out on top at the minute, albeit by one game. What's been your thoughts on that division so far this year? Because it is more tight than I thought it would be between Buffalo and New England for a neutral, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I didn't think that the Bills would slip as much as they have the last month or so. I still think they're a really good team, and they're probably still considered the favorites in that division because of Josh Allen, because they have a really good defense. I certainly did not think that the Miami Dolphins would be as bad as they've been. But I could also see them going on a run, too. I mean, I was looking at their schedule the other day. They're 3-7. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up 7-7 and back in the wild card race, because I have so much respect for Brian Flores, and I think that defense will come around. Now, the quarterback position has been mismanaged in Miami for a while now, so we'll see how that all shakes out. I think that they'll end up revisiting Deshaun Watson in the offseason because I don't think they're sold on Tua. And the Jets they're the New York Jets. I'm not sure what else I can say about them. Now they're running Joe Flacco out there, which I don't know. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, having seen Joe in Denver, it's certainly a big worry for Jets fans. But from the Jets to somebody who is playing incredible football this year, and that's Matt Judon, and obviously talented footballer. But are you surprised at just what an impact he's had? I mean, I think he's already equaled his best season after 10 weeks on 9.5 sacks, and from watching it over here, it just seems like he's capable of taking over and wrecking any game, Jim.
Yeah, it's funny. He's a really hard guy to block, but what's really funny to me is that a lot of teams forget to block him, and he comes free a lot, and he ends up being matched up with a poor running back who's in pass protection, who has no right to have to try and block Matthew Judon. But I didn't know he was going to be as impactful as he was, not only on the field but in the locker room. He's become a really high energy guy, a guy that loves to speak with the media, which you don't find in New England very often. I mean, he actually relishes coming out on Wednesdays and talking to us. He comes after the games, even when they were, at 2-4. He was the one that said, "Look, we're not a 2-4 team. We know who we have in this locker room. We're not a 2-4 team," and he was absolutely right. So he's been a kind of a culture changer. He's a little bit of a free spirit. Different free spirit than Gronk, but still a guy that doesn't really conform to kind of the strict Patriot ways. He says what's on his mind, and he's Adrian Phillips described him the other day as a different cat, and I think that's the perfect description. Like, Matt Judon is a different cat.
Jim, I know Bill Belichick and the management team, the coaching staff would never look ahead of this game, but I suppose the next month is, would you call it make or break in terms of whether this team is really for real? At this time of year, all fans and the media, I'd imagine, look at who's right now sitting in the playoffs and what's coming up, and they've got the Titans, the Bills twice, and the Colts. I mean, it's a monumental month ahead for the team.
Yeah, it really is. I think that, I don't think they've looked past this game at all, because the whole every given Sunday, and no one drills that into their players' heads more than Bill. But if they can get past this, the kind of the mini bye that they call it here, when you play on Thursdays, came at a good time, because some guys will get rested, and their injury report is longer than a supermarket receipt lately. It's just crazy how many guys are on there. So if they can get some of those guys rested and healthy, that bodes well against the Titans. The Titans have been a tough matchup for the Patriots for ever since Vrabel got there, because he knows Bill so well, and he's so smart, and he's a guy that prepares as much as Bill. He obviously doesn't have the experience, but That'll be a tough matchup for them. It's a 1 o'clock game in Foxborough. That helps a lot. A lot of us thought that was going to get flexed out and be like a primetime game, but so yeah, it's definitely a make or break stretch, like you said. They've got the regular bye week in there very late this season, December 12th, I think it is. So that's after the Bills game. We still don't know when the Colts game, if it's going to be a Sunday or a Monday. They haven't announced that yet. But yeah, it's a critical stretch, and they're playing their best football now, right around Thanksgiving, which is kind of how Bill sets it up every year.
So interesting that, sorry, Michael, interesting that they have the bye when they do, because having looked at last year, that was actually the particular week in which the Bucks had it. The Bucks had it very late last season. They addressed a couple of issues and then went on that run. So it's
Yeah, and I don't think you'd ever get Bill to admit it. Like when we ask him about
Yeah.
the bye week, he says, the schedule comes out. It is what it is. We play the schedule. But I think the guys love the later bye week because it's that carrot that's dangling. And Bill loves it too because it's the carrot he can dangle in front of those guys. Hey, look, get to this point. We're going to get some days off. Get to this point. So I'm sure he drills that home to them. And it's worked out well when they've had the mid to late bye week. You have that bye week early on. It really becomes a grind after that, especially if you're struggling and you haven't found your identity yet. And to not have that carrot being dangled in front of you, it can be tough on the guys mentally and obviously physically because they're just playing week after week.
You guys literally took the words out of my mouth. That bye week, albeit so late, is perfection, especially the way our team's going at the minute in New England. It's like me trying to get to Friday, the carrot and the stick with work. But I'm not sure, Jim, if you've realized there was a NFL international delegation at the game in Foxborough last weekend. I'm not going to focus too much on that there, but a friend of the show, Sebastian Vollmer, in
Sure.
Foxborough last weekend as well. I'm starting to think, and I have no idea, Jim. I'm starting to think, is Robert Kraft or the guys going to get together? Are the Patriots going to be the first team in Germany next year? Because if they are, it would be great for fans in Europe. But I guess time will tell.
Yeah, I think that they would love it. I know that there's a strong fan base in Germany for the Patriots, and they got Jakob Johnson as their fullback now, and he's German native, and he said that not only is there a strong fan base, his words, he said there's a lot of haters. There's a lot of Patriot haters in Germany. So the interest would certainly be there. They've got Sebastian Vollmer. He won a couple of Super Bowls. They had Marcus Kuhn for a while, who I don't think ever made an active roster for the Patriots, but he was in training camp once. So they've had a strong presence of, I don't know if any team's had a strong German presence, but they've had 3 guys that are German natives that have played in this organization. So they would seem like a natural fit. And I know that they were very excited because that was the national game in Germany last week. And Jakob Johnson said he was, his family was very excited. And one other little note about that, he was having a relative over to see him play in person for the Patriots for the first time last week because the year before with COVID, nobody could come to the game. So he was pretty excited about that. So, the Patriots have a huge international reach. I wouldn't be surprised if they're one of the first teams selected to play in Germany.
Well, that would be quite something, and we know German fans will be very excited. We know you have to get across to the stadium, Jim, but before you go, just I suppose, in terms of what will you be keeping an eye on this evening, particularly in relation to the Falcons, who are capable of putting up points, but obviously, tend to leak a lot of points as well.
Yeah, I think that they talk about this every week, the Patriots, and it's about starting fast. And I think that's what they want to do. They want to start fast and get ahead and just, for lack of a better term, kind of salt this one away if they can, get to that bye week and get some guys rested because, they really could use that the mini bye week. They could use the weekend off. And those guys, I'm sure they're very motivated because you don't want to go into the mini bye week or the regular bye week off a loss because then that kind of hovers there and it kind of stings and it's something you're thinking about. So I think getting off to a quick start, which they've been doing lately, is going to be another point of emphasis. So that and the running game, I think the formula is going to be the one that they've been kind of going with these last few weeks. Just rely on the defense, make things comfortable for Mac, and let the running game take over. Winning in the trenches, both sides.
You're selling that game to me to watch it live tonight, all night, Jim. Jim, I just want to thank you for your time for a start. You're a gentleman coming on before the game, especially live chatting to us, and hope you enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the rest of the season. Who knows? Maybe we'll see you in LA in February, and the pints are on us if so.
That would be fantastic. Thanks for having me, guys.
Of
Thanks,
course, Jim. And at Globe Jim McBride on Twitter, Jim. Thanks a million, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Well, great guy, Jim McBride from the Boston Globe. I've had Jim on a couple of times. I hope you enjoy the game tonight, Jim. And now that Jim is gone, I can say, are we Patriot haters, Colin? I don't know. Are we? No, we're not.
Let's say I enjoyed every single hit that the Broncos put on Tom Brady in that AFC Championship game. It was that was a sweet one. But you got to admire and respect what that franchise has done over the past 20 years.
What about them 49ers? Owen Farrell. Hi, Owen. Owen, just an apology again from all of us.
Let's not do the Premier League apologize after a loss. Yeah, we did say there were ways that the 49ers could win. It was a fantastic performance. Some great tweets of a family photograph where Sean McVay is one of Kyle Shanahan's kids because he owns him. Kyle has beaten him, I think, 5 times in a row now. And Kyle obviously came up with a great plan. Kudos to the 49ers. This is what we expected. I had the 49ers going to the playoffs. I've been surprised they've taken this long to show up. They obviously have a game against the Jags this week, so they need to continue to build on that.
Where is Mark Brown? Is he here or is he coming?
No, Mark's abroad for work commitments. Did you not get the memo?
I'll be honest, it's one of those weeks. I'll just say
It's
though,
been a mad week. It's been a mad week.
Like hand to God, right? Tuesday morning, I was lying in bed, didn't know the score, didn't watch the game live, turned the phone on, and I thought, I'm not looking at any notifications, typed in 49ers and seen the result. And I just had to laugh. Like every pick from 9 o'clock on Sunday for me went down the toilet. But
I went to the trouble of watching the game very early on Tuesday morning. Again, without knowing the score. As I like to tend to watch it early on before work, and they were dominant. And the Rams have lost 2 games in a row, and it's coincided with bringing in Von Miller. And I know they're not obviously impacting on the result, but I think we all discussed on the show and we read it in the media around this all-in scenario that they've got, and they've only got 3 picks in this draft, which are way down. I mean, if they keep going at the rate they're going, they could find themselves well out at number 1 seed, and then it makes it very difficult to find your way to the Super Bowl. Who would they got? Oh, they're on a bye this week, so it'll be interesting to see what they do, because if you recall last year, the Bucs leading into their bye had a very difficult period. They lost a couple of games, and the Chiefs went in to Tampa and beat them comfortably. And I'd imagine the Rams are working on how they correct the mistakes of the past fortnight. There's Declan's point to the point we're making. Yeah, they're struggling. It'd be interesting to see. And they're fortunate now this weekend. I mean, the Seattle are playing the Cards in a way that they'll probably hope that Seattle have a good performance. Russell Wilson having played last week, he might be a week on from that injury and he might play better. And again, this Murray injury is plaguing the Cards because it's still up in the air whether he's going to play this weekend. Colin has touched on the 49ers. I mean, the 49ers are looking at this now, having won at the weekend, with this wild card chase being so open, that if they were to win this weekend, again, with one of the teams losing a game in the division, they could quickly find themselves back in the hunt for at least a wild card.
I'm asking this generally, Colin. You have some big news for us, haven't you? In terms of an animal related thing, but I'm presuming, Colin, you'll be on the show this weekend. Yeah, is that the plan? I know you're in the States. I haven't even asked you. I was going to say.
Yes, so I fly stateside and will have the pleasure of seeing Justin Fields in the flesh. The Irish NFL show will be at Soldier Field on Sunday to watch the Bears take on the Ravens in what should be a very interesting game. Obviously, the Ravens looking to bounce back, and Justin Fields looking to continue to improve. So that will be intriguing. So yeah, delighted that I'm getting to do that. And then the following weekend, getting down to see the Broncos take on the Chargers. And I'm looking forward to the tailgating in that game.
Colin is playing it down slightly. He's not going there as just the ordinary Joe Soap fan this weekend. No, Colin, are you? You're going along with a little bit more of a higher stature this week.
Are you cleaning the seats, Colin? Are you? What's the plan?
No, well, that's next time I go to Cleveland, myself and Baker are going to be doing that, cleaning the stadium, his janitor job. No, it's the Irish NFL show has media access to the Bears, so that will be looking forward to that, and hopefully get the opportunity to get to the press conferences and maybe get a question to either Lamar or to Justin Fields. Let's see.
And a very good game, a very intriguing game because there's a lot on it. You know, the Bears are coming off the bye. The Ravens have had a difficult loss last week, so you're in store for a good game, I'd imagine.
I can't wait to edit Column's travels on our editing software this weekend and make it into a fancy documentary.
Michael, one thing you were going to apologize. Somebody who did have to apologize, and people, I don't know if they're aware of it, Matthew Stafford's wife, who was throwing pretzels at 49ers fans.
We've all been there. We've all. I mean, I haven't done that now, but it's a bit like the pints at the Tottenham game, isn't it? The NFL last week or last month. No.
Yeah, that was a bit of a fiasco. Some people took it well, some people didn't. Yeah, so we've got some other guests coming on, but yeah, this game tonight, like, it's an intriguing game because everybody's expecting the Patriots to win well, and okay, I know you're going with this, but
no, I'm picking the Patriots.
The Falcons are so inconsistent. It's hard to know. It's hard to know what to make of them. When we think they're going to win, they shock us, and last week's performance was terrible in Dallas.
Well, any given Thursday, Brian, just very quickly before we get our guest on, next Wednesday night, we have a Thanksgiving special, a very, very big episode, probably our biggest episode since the Super Bowl. I'm really putting that out there now. It's a big episode. There are numerous guests. Maybe we'll give away a Ganzi. I don't know, but we'll see the crack. Also, if you're a member, please check your emails. Because if you don't, and if you find it on Saturday, you're going to go mad at me. Check your emails. I'll say it now because we're on a stream. There's pre-sale access for that college game in August next year. Check the emails. Get the tickets. Brian will buy you a pint next year. It'll be grand.
Yeah. Whilst we're doing media access to that game, yeah.
Well, half-timer. We'll see the crack. Right. Our next guest, I'm presuming he's ready. I'm hoping he's going to give us maybe a thumbs up here. We'll see the crack. I'm not sure if he is. Call him, talk for 30 seconds and I'll message him and see the crack.
I suppose that in terms of this evening's games, I haven't seen any of the late kind of injury reports. There was talk earlier in the week, Brian, that Patterson might be out. Have you heard anything on, is he going to play this evening?
Game time decision by all accounts.
I think he's a huge piece in the Falcons' offensive planning. I think if he isn't good to go, that'll really impact on them. Obviously, with Ridley, not being available, and Kyle Pitts being a rookie tight end. Sometimes he's fantastic, and other times he's not.
When he struggled, Hayden Hurst has stepped in and had a reasonably good game because he's a good backup who they brought in from Baltimore last year. But he unfortunately is definitely out again, so he's been ruled out. So yeah, it will be reliant on Pitts, and they'll be reliant on Gage, Russell Gage, and then there's that wide receiver who seems to crop up every few weeks that has that Greek surname that I'm not even going to have a go at pronouncing. Maybe Michael might have a go. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But
What's
there's a wide receiver for the Falcons who seems to just rock up every couple of weeks for a couple of touchdowns.
Could be a big night for the Falcons, boys. Could be a big night for the Falcons.
Well, the way things have gone lately, between the past 2 weeks with the results and our confidence in the Ravens last Thursday night against the Dolphins, and then on Monday night we were all I wouldn't say we were extremely confident. We did put up arguments as to why we felt the 49ers would win, but we still felt that the Rams would have more than enough to cover the game, only to be let down again on Tuesday morning. So I have a funny feeling I know where this is going to go tonight with the picks.
Well, one thing on tonight's the fact that it's the Falcons Patriots. There's also a partial lunar eclipse that will last, and this is genuine.
That was my
3
thing.
hours and 28 minutes.
Okay.
Let's bring the guest on, our second guest. Hopefully it works. I am hoping it works. If it doesn't work, we'll try another way. Delighted to welcome in. I've literally it's working. I didn't think it was working, but Porg Almond. Porg, if I pronounce your surname wrong, I'm really sorry. Professional footballer from Newport County, currently on loan with Exeter City, has also played for the Republic of Ireland soccer team. Porg, is that a Giants jersey?
Ravens?
Giants. It's like going back to jersey.
Giants. I'm worried now because his internet's not working. I'm just gonna say it's going on and off. I'm gonna text Porg because he came in and then it didn't work. We'll see the crack. Right, Porg, can you hear us? Okay.
Oh, it's gone again.
Hey, I think it's
gone.
just coming back in. Can you hear me?
No worries. I can hear you a bit, but I'll text you outside of this. Okay, 2 seconds. Colin, just while I talk to Porg off screen here, can you talk more about that lunar eclipse thing, because that sounds ridiculous.
Well, it's true. 328 is something I think every Patriots fan will love and every Falcons fan will want to forget. But that is the reality of this evening. I suppose this is obviously a big game because the Patriots are pushing, and what's been a surprise this year has been just how open the AFC and the NFC to an extent have been. And Robert Kraft said in the offseason that the Patriots had all of that money available, and there were fewer teams going for the players, so they were able to bring them in. And I think at the start of the season, it seemed like they're spending a lot of money, and how competitive can they really be? But given the way in which the season has gone, the Patriots are certainly in the mix. I saw that 538 say that they have a 74% chance of making the playoffs. So, now they have to prove that they can do it. Nobody expected anything at the start of the season. Suddenly, the pressure is on them.
Still trying to get Porg on. I am the facilitator tonight, so hopefully, please God, it'll work eventually.
Brian, I suppose the in terms of Monday night's game, and I suppose just on the NFC West, if Murray's ankle injury continues to linger, what are your thoughts on who will take that number one seed? Are Green Bay nailed on for that?
I would expect him to be taking that number one seed anyway, no matter what the situation is with the injuries. I think that if you look at the schedule, it's fairly favourable, and that they will come go over Porg here now anyway, so we'll move away from that.
Hold on. Porg, I had no idea you were a Giants fan, because Brian seems to get Giants fans on all the time, man. All the time.
Yeah, for my sins, unfortunately, yeah.
So not only has he scored,
it just happened.
Sorry for the troubles internet there. Apologies.
No. It kind of ties into how I kind of got into the NFL, to be honest with you. It all kind of started with the OBJ catch, kind of, and it all spiraled from there. And I was kind of watched a bit of NFL before that, but it would have been more passing interest, more of Super Bowls, things like that. And then kind of when the OBJ thing happened with that catch, and he seemed to just have a highlight reel that season of catches, and it was just, it kind of captivated me, and I just kind of got sucked in massively. And then he let me down, and then obviously Saquon came in, and he just keeps getting injured, and it's been all disappointment ever since.
I'm sure Brian can empathize with you on that front. What have you made, I suppose, of the Giants this season? We've heard Brian's thoughts, but just from your perspective, obviously, Daniel Jones in his third year, so people wondering how Judge would do. As we sit here entering week 11, what are your thoughts?
Oh, well, first and foremost, I don't, I'm not an expert or anything like that on this. So as I said, I'm quite nervous coming on this as well, because I listen to this on the way down to training each week, and I'm conscious that it's a very good show, so I don't want to ruin it by giving terrible analysis. But no, it's been a kind of a typical year for the Giants. What we're kind of been used to, positivity at the beginning, injuries, and then a bit of, oh no, it's all over, and then a couple of good results that you don't see them getting. And I just don't know what's going to, you don't know what you're going to get week in, week out from them. One week, I suppose the big thing is try not to get too much hope, because when you get hope, you just get shot down very, very quickly. And maybe it's better going into each week with expecting dismal result, and anything else can be a bonus on top of that, because I think Daniel Jones is probably the oldest looking, youngest quarterback in the league. He's been through a lot since he's been there. And whether he's going to be there for much longer, who knows? But it's a pity it hasn't worked out. Especially with the injuries, obviously, that was saying a few. Let's say Saquon Barkley's after having for the last couple of years, and I think next year there's a couple. I think it was the 3 first-round picks the Giants have in the draft. If I'm wrong on that, correct me, lads. Just save me on it. But that could be big. So it's maybe more hopes for the next couple of years rather than what it's going to be like for the rest of this year.
Yeah, I agree with you, Paul. The problem is for the last couple of years, it's hard to gauge how good or how bad he is, because we've had so many injuries and he's not getting a fair crack at the whip. It looks like he's going to have a lot of players back on Monday, which will be interesting to see how the offense plays out. I saw it on your social there a few weeks ago. You were at the game in Tottenham. Are you surprised? Like we're doing the show 12 months, and prior to that, the two guys were doing their own show with the Broncos, and me and Mark, who's not here tonight, we're doing our own podcast in the NFL. Are you taken back by how, I suppose, the enormity of the sport this side of the world now, how much it's grown, the UK and Ireland in particular?
Completely. I couldn't get my head around it. Obviously you have the very casual fan who will want to go for the spectacle of it, because let's have it right, Americans do games much better than anyone else. They do, entertainment factor. It's not just the NFL, it's the NBA, it's the baseball. It's everything. I don't think there's any other sport in the world that comes close to, or any other people in the world who come close to putting on a show the way they can do it. That was my first NFL game to see live, and it probably was two of the weaker sides, which I would say, but just as a spectacle, just everything about it is just amazing. And when we got off the tube and we're walking up to the ground, I was there with a couple of lads from Newport County as well, the physio and one of the other players, and they would be massive fans now. And you're walking up and just to see all the different shirts and the different the people just being interested in all. It's amazing to think that that's a sport that's possibly not played that much in the country, and they still can go across the world, and you have people that you bring soccer across the world and everyone plays it. Bring NFL halfway across the world and not everyone plays it, but everyone has an interest in it, or it's really starting to take on. I think part of that is probably to do with the coverage of like Red Zone has, because it's a very easy way to watch and a very easy way to get into NFL, and that's probably how I kind of got into it as well, watching that. And it's the same with my group of friends back in Ireland and that, and then you get involved in the fantasy side of it, and you run your own fantasy leagues and stuff like that, and it's just every week it's just something different. You're just not caught into one game, you're watching every other game as well, and literally one catch can change your whole week. Whether you're getting abused in the group chat or you're the one abusing people in the group chat. So no, it's brilliant. And look, the game in Tottenham was unbelievable. It was my first time in that stadium as well, and I have to say it's possibly the best stadium I've ever been in.
It's some gaff for an NFL stadium, Pork. I have to say though, I know all of us are biased. It's good to have a few college games now in Ireland over the next few years, but I really think they're missing out not putting an NFL game in the Aviva, Croker or Ravenhill or anywhere in Ireland.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and I think if they were going to do it, you might as well go big and go croaker. You know, you might as well go all out, because you would pack it. Simple as that. The demand is there. I suppose the big thing is there's other countries are having the same argument. I know obviously that's going to Germany in is the next year or the year after. So they've been having that argument for quite a while, and there's the other side of it is you probably can't have too many games away from America as well, because at the end of the day, I put it this way: if it was involved in soccer and the Premier League were looking at doing it a number of years ago, and they got crucified for it. So you know you have to be mindful to the teams in America as well. But then again, I suppose they'll just move City without caring anyway. So whether we ever see a franchise over this side of the Atlantic, I don't know. But I think it would be brilliant if we could get one in Croke Park. But you know, I think all the Irish people will still travel over to Wembley or over to Tottenham, no problems at all.
So you mentioned that the OBJ catch was what you made you fall in love with the Giants. I suppose any other moments that stand out to you from watching the game? It doesn't have to be Giants related, but things that have stood out, be it this season or just in general.
I suppose there's a couple. I think one of the real kind of first big games I watched was it the Super Bowl when the Seahawks they didn't run the ball on the 1 yard line, and you know, yes, against the Patriots, and obviously to this day I think nobody still realizes why they didn't do it. But you know that's it's in the past now and all that. But that was a big thing, and one of the other ones again. It's funny enough, it includes the two teams that are playing tonight. I actually went to bed in the third quarter because I thought it was done. Because I had to go training the next morning. I had to travel to Hartlepool the next morning. When it was 28-3. And I'll never forget looking at the score the next day, going, "Oh my God, I've just missed an absolute classic." I genuinely thought it was done, and as I said, I had to leave at 6 o'clock in the morning to head up to Hartlepool for training. We had a new manager who had taken over, I think 3 or 4 days earlier. So I was trying to make sure I was in good nick to impress him, and I regret it for a number of reasons, because he ended up not being a good manager, number one, and number two, I ended up missing the best comeback ever. But yeah, they're the kind of the ones, and I think there's another one. Was it the Vikings? Was it the wild card game when was it Stephon Diggs? I think yeah. So it was that one as well, and I suppose they're the kind of the big ones you kind of you remember as well. And as I said, the last couple of years has been more so of the fantasy football, playing it with my mates. You know, so it's each week is obviously quite a bit of chat forward and back between us, but it's just a brilliant sport. It's great to sit down on a Sunday and waste your whole evening watching it. It's really, really good fun, and we always have a chat amongst ourselves in my group of friends, and we think like the GA are missing out a trick on red zone. I think there's something in it for them, with doing a even if it was a championship one or even the National League, just a kind of red zone sort of day. So if anyone does, if they do jump on off the back of this, I'll take some credit, and I'll have some money as well if anyone wants to do it.
Corey, sitting through a fourth quarter and watching the Patriots come back in the manner in which they did is not good. I think you did the right thing going to bed. That was excruciating for all of us. I was just going to ask, I think you've touched on it there, but in terms of your own professional commitments, you know, the NFL being on a Sunday night is probably ideal. I don't imagine you're playing. You've had too many games. I don't think it's been an odd FA Cup match when you're at Newport at 6 o'clock on a Sunday. But with the exception of that, I think you're free and easy for Sunday nights.
Yeah, pretty much. We had a little boy 15 months ago, and I think he rules the roost at the minute as well. So once he's down, it's kind of every Sunday I'm trying to get him down earlier and earlier. And it was hard a few weeks ago when the clocks changed here and it hadn't changed in America, and it was a 5 o'clock kickoff, and you go, I'm gonna miss the first couple of hours of this, so I was trying to get him into bed early. But no, it's it lends itself to you know, watching the kind of the majority of the games, and then depending on how the late games are going, you know, whether I have to travel in the morning, going down when I was at Newport, obviously I'm gone out on loan now, so I have a bit of travelling with to Exeter in the mornings. Like I say, I listen to you lads along the way. And when I was at Newport, though, it was literally 5 minutes from the training ground. So if I'd always offered to do the night feeds on the Sunday because there was always an opportunity to watch the late games. And the same when it comes to Thursday night football, if we ever have an away game on the Saturday and we're travelling on the Friday, I'll literally turn on notifications off my phone. So if anyone's trying to get me, the best thing to do is ring me, because I turn the WhatsApp notifications off so I don't get the results, and I'll watch the game on the bus, on the Game Pass. That passes a couple of hours because Exeter is miles away from everywhere.
The trick there is, sorry, Porg, is to pause Red Zone and put the phone down, because I've got 2 kids, so I know exactly what you're talking about, and then catch up without knowing scores. Sorry, Michael.
Yeah,
I was going to say, poor Brian's a very quiet man on the Sunday. He's very quiet. You don't hear from Brian till about 1:30 on a Monday morning. I like the idea of the whole Red Zone thing, especially whenever the Tyrone County Championship was £16 to watch last weekend. So I'm definitely up for that. Des Cahill doing Red Zone would be a good shout for the National League. Just
I'd be very happy with that.
Just finally, man, before we let you go, obviously appreciate you coming on. Look, probably not going to happen for the Giants or my team this year, but who's your thoughts for the Super Bowl? Like literally 3 months away in LA. Do you think do you think it's somebody that's obvious right now, or can you see a dark horse coming in towards the end?
I think if this question was asked 2 weeks ago, you kind of have a really kind of obvious, straightforward answer with possibly the Bills or the Cardinals. But the last 2 weeks, if you just dropped someone on the planet 2 weeks ago and said this is the NFL, you think some of these teams are terrible, with the results they've had and how some of the very unfancy teams have just smashed some of the other teams. Like I didn't see the 49ers beating the Rams the other night, especially the manner it happened in as well. It just that kind of caught me by surprise. I think the fact it's in LA, you nearly be not hoping is the wrong word, but you'd want one LA side in it, maybe just for the whole spectacle of it all. Before the year, I thought the Chiefs were going to be the ones, but they've just been a little bit hot and cold. Maybe a little bit more hot in the last week or so. But the Bills look really good. They just look strong all round. They'd be my pick right now. But I could be very, very wrong because, as I said, the last 2 weeks the results have been just crazy. So it's even hard to give a pick for any week. I don't know how you do it, because you just end up with egg on your face on the Monday morning after giving, legitimate reasons why things are going to happen, and everyone is thinking the exact same. Because like I said, I listened to you on Monday before the 49ers game, and you all gave proper picks, and then you just go on, well, everyone is thinking the same thing, and then come Monday or Tuesday morning, you wake up and go, what's just happened here?
Michael, you missed the trick when you were introducing Pori, because what you forgot to mention was Pori scored a winner against Bowes back in 2009 and as a Rovers man. And he's also a Giants fan. I mean, what else can you ask for?
Yeah.
So go on, sorry, Colin.
We're going to have Bowes fans in the comments. We're going to we'll have all sorts.
Or Bowes in the final on Sunday as well, I was going to say.
Yeah, they are actually, yeah. But Rovers won the league, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, come on, Pat.
Well, hopefully we can have you back on again, Pork, and maybe at that point things will be a little bit clearer for Joe Judge and Daniel Jones. But look, we want to thank you for giving us your time this evening, and enjoy the rest of the season in the NFL. All the best for the rest of the season for yourself, and we will definitely welcome you on again some point in the future.
Oh, thanks very much for having me, lads. As I said, you'd make the journey down to Exeter a lot easier. And I love listening to you giving out about your teams every week. It's brilliant. Long may it continue.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, lads.
Take care. Best of luck.
Fair play to Port coming on. It was a good crack. Nice to hear. If you gave me a map of England and told me to point out where Exeter is right now, I genuinely, you can fly from Belfast. I don't know.
It's a bit like me with Tyrone on the map.
No, it's not. Don't even start that. Don't even start that. My God. Right, we got Orlando Ledbetter coming on in like 4 minutes. I don't know. Like I told him 10 to, so hopefully he comes on. But should be good crack, lads. Obviously, the last time we were speaking to Orlando was in London town a month ago. A month ago yesterday, Mark Cockrell had his famous Duval moment. I still can't believe that happened. That's yeah, it was a bit mad, wasn't it?
Well, the Falcons, I mean, they were flying high for a couple of weeks, and then there was the Panthers game. So we'll certainly have plenty to catch up with the Orlando about when he is on, because the Falcons are just a really interesting team. I mean, they are probably representative of the NFL 2021 season. You're never entirely sure what way it's going to play out.
Mark says, don't put any money on the Vikings to win, and don't put any money on the team to beat the Vikings. Well, you could argue the Falcons are in that same space as well, because every time you think the Falcons are going to come out with a win, like a couple of weeks back when they're playing at home to the Panthers, having won a couple of tough games, last second field goals, they go and lay an egg, and then they rebound. I think they rebound after that. They won after that, and then of course last weekend, look, they were going up against a really strong Dallas team, but I think we all felt on the show last weekend they would at least put up a performance to give the Cowboys a game. But that game was over in the first quarter. It was horrendous.
We have a few comments here just before I was going to put Matchbook on, but very quickly.
I think I can name the comments at this stage. Here we go.
Why do you always say that Brian will buy the pints? Is he loaded or very? No,
Both.
People in the Republic are on double the salary we are, so that's why Brian can pay for the pints.
Both, yeah. Sure, Michael, if I had your money, I'd pour me on.
You wouldn't want my money, I'm telling you. Right, can we start slagging now? No, I missed Column's Teddy Bridgewater mental breakdown earlier this week. I fell asleep. Can we talk about it?
Fred, did you not watch it back? I watched
very passionate.
I watched it back.
It's very passionate.
Actually, one of my friends commented, sorry, he's a 49ers fan. He thought it was actually hilarious. Colin went on the rant, and you passed it on to me then, and I just went, I think I'll talk about the game now.
Yeah, when Padraig said, I love listening to you give out about your teams, I thought, I know who he's probably talking about there.
Yeah.
Just a shout out to everyone commenting on Twitter. Basically, I can't put the comments on Twitter. I'm trying to. It's not integrated, so if I don't read it out, please don't be offended. YouTube's your best bet. I think Facebook, it goes on the screen as well. Let's quickly look at Matchbook, our presenting sponsors, before we bring on D-Led. £15, 15 yo-yo welcome offer. Enter bonus code Irish NFL Show. And if you're picking anything like we're picking at the minute, you're in big trouble. Brian, the over and under is 47 tonight. What are you thinking? I say the under the overnight as well. Was I right or wrong?
You don't want me to give away my thoughts on the game just yet. You just
don't give away your thoughts on the game, but maybe from a betting angle, because
a betting angle, it's hard not to give away your thoughts on the game when in terms of the over. I think it's an under game. I think the Patriots defense is quite strong at the moment. As we've all seen, they're playing consistently, and I find it hard to see how they're going to move that ball up and down the field on that Patriots defense. In particular, if, as we discussed earlier in the show, if Cordell Patterson, who seems to be their main man, look, I mean, he's not just a receiver. Essentially, he's playing wide receiver, tight end, and running back. I mean, we saw it ourselves when we were over in London, how effective he was in that game. And it's not just that. We're getting to a stage where we've seen teams double coverage him, and it allows other players to get hold of the ball. And Calvin Ridley hasn't returned yet. We obviously are aware why he's not playing. Gage is back. But it's hard to see how they're going to put up a lot of points on this Patriots defense. So the over for me, I'm an under on that game, and obviously we'll give our pick shortly.
We'll give our picks after we bring on our special guest tonight, or our main guest tonight. This is a man that met us at 8:45 a.m. from Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. He enjoyed his time in London. I think me and Colin may have bomb scared him a couple of times in the stadium, had given him high fives and stuff. But delighted to welcome Orlando Ledbetter, D-Led, back into the Irish NFL Show. Orlando, I was saying to the guys there a minute ago, it was a month yesterday from the second London game. Week before that was the Falcons against the Jets. It seems like we were talking to you in foggy weather about 5 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question about it. Yeah, lots happened since then. But yeah, that was a little bit over a month ago. We were talking outside the stadium there.
And it's been up and down for the Falcons since then. We've seen some of the very good and some of the very bad. And I mean, I think in particular, after that game in London, Arthur Smith said he couldn't say too many good, enough good things about Matt Ryan. We saw the best of Matt Ryan against the Saints. He was absolutely phenomenal. What have you made of Matt Ryan's season, Orlando? Because obviously coming into the draft, there was talk about what would the Falcons do. From a neutral perspective, it seems that Matt Ryan's done kind of as much as he can. But just from somebody who's so close to the camp, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I thought at some point you got to come up with a transition plan. But given the state of his contract, I understood the move to stay with him after it was explained to me, the dynamics of the move. So you get a new coach, you get a new GM, and you go into the owner's office for the first time. You tell him that he's got to cut an $80 million quarterback. So, that's probably not going to work. So they knew when they took the job that Matt Ryan was coming with the job, and any transition plan would happen later down the road. Now, of all the rookie quarterbacks this year, Mac Jones is playing the best. Arguably the 15th pick, not the number one, not Trevor Lawrence, but Mac Jones of New England. He has his team coming in here with a 6-4 record and winners of their last 4 games. So when they do get around to picking a quarterback, it might not be the hype number one guy. It might be the 15th pick. So you want to try to win some games and be in position to pick that quarterback and make sure you got the right guy when you do it.
Orlando, we just spoke before you came on about Cordell Patterson and obviously the impact he's had on this team this year. I mean, the team essentially runs through him now more so than through Matt Ryan. You were praising him in London when you were on the live show, and he had a good game in London that day, and he's continued that throughout the season. If he doesn't play this evening, it's going to be it's a huge impact on this offense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a great big impact on the offense. He has. He has career highs already in yards receiving touchdowns and rushing yards through 8 games. He is a key cog in this operation. They could line him up in different spots. Now, that's going to put more pressure on Kyle Pitts to make some plays, Russell Gage to get open. There's been a separation issue with him, I'm told. He hasn't been able to separate from defenders. Maybe Mike Davis can get going in the running game for him. He hasn't done a great deal for them this year, but they certainly need him today.
Yeah, and when we were on the show, you spoke about a wide receiver that is only gradually starting to get more action, and that's Darby. He played a little bit last week. Is he going to get more opportunities tonight? Because he seems to have, he seems to be a good player, and they don't seem to be giving him the snaps that he probably deserves at this stage.
Yeah, I think out of necessity, they got to run. If Cordell's out, he's probably the next fastest guy on the roster. And they have to make sure that he knows what he's doing. He's a rookie out there. Don't overload him and have him thinking too much. So he got in and got a catch against Dallas. And, it will be interesting to see because we've seen Tajay Sharp. He's a possession guy. Lamade Zaccheaus is a speed guy, but not very big. So we've seen what they can do. Let's see what the rookie can do.
Orlando, I'm just going to take you back to London. Final time, I promise, just for 2 seconds. It seemed whenever we were in the press room afterwards and you were in front of us, there was that good vibe from not just the head coach, but obviously Arthur Blank as well. It was a good experience in London. Do you think they'll be open to coming back soon, or do you think it's one of those things where maybe they do it and they wait a while? And also, your thoughts on the setup, because for us, that was our first time watching the game in that stadium. I know there's a fantastic stadium in Atlanta, but it's a pretty cool stadium.
Yeah, no doubt. It's the vibe was good. I think they'd love to come back over, so long as it's not their home game. This time, that's the only issue that they had. They had to give up a home game to come over this time. So, and if it helps them get a Super Bowl, yeah, it's always a nice carrot to get the Super Bowl and get a London trip out of it also. So they have a pretty good European fan base and would love to come back. Certainly. Now, the stadium was awesome from a media standpoint. It's down low. We got sight lines. I mean, you can actually follow the ball from the 40 on in. And I've been in the best stadiums in the world this year, just coming from Dallas, and then being at home stadium, in Atlanta. I haven't been to Vegas or the new LA stadiums, but the Tottenham Stadium's got great sight lines for the media. We're much higher up here in Atlanta and in Dallas, but they do a great job in London. They do a great job here and a great job in Dallas with the media and the setups for the teams.
Absolutely. And so you already spoke a little bit, I suppose, about Mac Jones and what he's doing with the Patriots, but what the Patriots have been so impressive on defense, the Orlando, and particularly Matt Judon, 9.5 sacks, and he just seems capable of taking over games and wrecking offensive game plans. How did the Falcons plan for him and his impact this evening?
Yeah, they're going to have to do a little bit what they did against Cam Jordan in New Orleans. They also got Dante Hightower, and he's the one who helped wreck the Super Bowl, but we didn't have to bring that up. But Matt Judon, they're going to send Mike Davis over to Chip. Lee Smith will get over there and help. They're not going to let Matt Judon get a bunch of one-on-one opportunities. If he's going to get to the quarterback, he's going to go through a maze to get there.
And if they were to win tonight, it would put them back in this very open wild card race. The NFC, I mean, there's teams at 3-6 are only one game out of the wild card. So if they were to put off the upset, shall we say, it puts them back in. And another team within the division who's certainly in a similar position is the Carolina Panthers. Were you surprised how well Cam reintroduced himself to the Panthers last week? And do you think that would be...
Oh, no, not at all. Cam is from Atlanta, and I've been watching him since he was 10. So he's not a shy type of person. So anything he does is going to be pretty loud. So that was good for him. The Panthers, are trying to stabilize things because they got a good defense. So, if the offense could, get a little bit going, at least score in the red zone. Cam can do that. If he can't do anything else, he could run in from the red zone. So now all of a sudden that makes it a little bit tougher in the NFC South with Carolina, being able to put a competitive offense on the field. So good luck for Cam. Everybody's wishing him well from Atlanta. He's from Westlake High here, won the Heisman Trophy over at Auburn. And they used to have some good battles, him and Matt Ryan, and looks like we'll have another one on December the 12th.
I look forward to it. I was saying just the other night that division is really intriguing now, and you're looking at a few teams there that really have a chance. Looking at tonight, the Orlando Cordell Patterson. I'm sorry if we've already brought this up, but is he going to go tonight? Have you heard any exclusives from the?
No, the latest that I have is he's questionable for tonight with the ankle. I don't think he's playing. If I was a fantasy person, he wouldn't be in my lineup because you know what they do. They list him as limited and they list him as questionable. Then they'll pull him because they want Belichick to prepare for the Cordell Patterson Falcons, not the Falcons without him. And so, it's the oldest trick in the book. I think Bill Belichick invented it, him and Bill Parcells. But at practice, I saw a lot of Wayne Gallman and Quadri Olison during the open period of practice. I saw Cordell run one play at less than half speed. So I don't expect him to play. And the Falcons, there is one media report that says he's going to be out for a couple of weeks from the NFL Network.
Orlando, you've been a great friend of the show, and we always enjoy you coming on. And you also have your own podcast, the Bowtie Chronicles. Do you want to tell our viewers a little bit more about the Bowtie Chronicles and where they can find it?
Oh, sure. That's my bow tie I'll be wearing tonight. And so I wear bow ties on the game day. So we titled the podcast, the Bowtie Chronicles. So it comes out after the games and then midweek, usually on Wednesday, to preview the upcoming opponent. Right now, there's one up on Mac Jones and how he has the Patriots hot. And the previous one was wrapping up the beatdown in Dallas. So I'll wrap up tonight's game in the morning, and we'll have the Bowtie Chronicles up, on AJC.com and on iTunes and the various platforms in the morning. So appreciate y'all. Let me talk about the Bowtie Chronicles podcast.
Well, Orlando, we were commending your commitment to the podcast because we believe that you recorded the one after the Jets game on the plane traveling back from the UK to Atlanta. And we were saying at that stage, we felt you would have been due a few hours sleep, but you seem to have, muddled through on that flight and got that podcast done. And it was really refreshing to listen to it, in particular by the fact that they'd won a game. And I know Michael's going to ask you for your pick on the game. And if you are picking the Falcons, a lot of people will feel it's a surprise. Are you surprised by the number of shocks we've seen over the past few weeks in the league? It's probably one of the most open and competitive seasons we've seen for quite some time. I mean, we saw the Bucs getting beaten last week, which helps the division. And then even, our Cardinals getting beaten by the Panthers. I mean, we could go on with the amount of shocks we've seen over the past few weeks.
Yeah, no question about it. The Denver, I see the is that Al Harris jersey up? But yeah, the Denver beating the Cowboys one, that was a good one. And then the Falcons had to pay for that because Dallas came back and pummeled them. But Thursday night, the games have been weird. Who would have called the Ravens losing last Thursday night? So I'm expecting the Falcons to play their best game, but that might not be enough against this dialed-in New England team.
Right. Finally, Orlando, before you get in the car and head to the game, first off, for anybody watching this game, it's at 1:20 a.m. in Ireland, in the UK, 2:20 a.m. in Central Europe. So it's difficult, but who have you got tonight, and how would you persuade people to stay up, Orlando?
Yeah, I would say I got the Patriots. The Falcons are 4-2 in one-score games, but I think the Patriots are just taking care of business right now, playing at a high level. Went in and beat the Cleveland Browns 45-7. So that was quite impressive. So that's why I'm picking the Patriots. But for the folks that need to stay up and watch and want to see one of the up-and-coming stars of the National Football League, stay up for Kyle Pitts, the Falcons tight end. Y'all saw a little bit of him in London. But Bill Belichick compared him to he said he's a mix of Tony Gonzalez and Julio Jones. So he's on Bill Belichick's radar. The Falcons don't have anybody else to throw the ball to, so he's going to get a lot of action, and we're going to see how Bill Belichick's going to try to defend him. So, at least, you want to stay up. That's one reason to stay up for.
Absolutely, and it should be entertaining no matter what happens. And Orlando, every time you join us, it's wonderfully entertaining. You're a gentleman, you're a friend of the show. Thank you for taking the time to join us this evening, and we look forward to the next time we can welcome you back on to the Irish NFL Show.
Well, all right, guys, take care, and thanks for having me on the Irish NFL Show, and best of luck.
Thanks, Orlando.
All the best, Dylan. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
There he is, the legend of Atlanta sports media, Orlando Ledbetter from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I think I got that right. Orlando, thank you for coming on. He was on Jeff Reinbold's show last week, so he's been a busy man. I felt bad texting him last night. We had to get him on. We had to get somebody on to talk about the Falcons for a start. Like I enjoyed the it the first down noise call in London, or what was that? Remember that?
I will never forget that.
Which one was that?
The squawking falcon noise.
No.
You were too busy with your mate.
For third down, it was.
I was looking after the public in my with my funds, my lot of funds, as Owen Farrell called it, and being generous as always, Michael.
Oh God! Right, let's get the game picks in a second. There's loads of messages here. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Like what? I don't even know what that there's about. Correct, Brian, or correct?
Yeah, no,
Rafa
he's
Benitez.
referring to. I assume he's referring to Colum's rant on Monday night. You know, and obviously then if you think back to Rafa when he's fact, yeah, when he was losing his mind over Fergie. Fergie had a great knack of making these managers lose their rag when it comes to press conferences. Arsene Wenger and Kevin Keegan and even Rafa fell for it. But yeah, it was one of the better moments of the season, I would say. Certainly one for the top 10 at the end of the season.
I'm checking out here what
You asked Colm to discuss the game, and he didn't mention the game. He went off in a completely different mindset around the issues that the ownership, in terms of the ownership and the franchise itself. Sorry, Colm.
No,
It's always good when it's someone else's team. Wait and see now next week when we get tortured on Monday night by
like,
Tom Brady.
the last couple of weeks though have been nuts. Like the picks the last couple of weeks, and then the results have been crazy. In terms of picks tonight, our friends over at Matchbook, Aidan is taking the Pats, but he's taking the Pats -6.5, and he's also tipped them for the Super Bowl. He got them at 36-1 last week. I don't know.
They're into 14-1 now, I believe, on the back of last weekend's win. They've come down.
So there you go. He's taking Pats -6.5. So, oof.
Well, you'd expect them to win by touchdown, wouldn't you?
Well, we'll see what happens. £15.15 Yo-Yo welcome offer, Irish NFL show code. Again, thanks to the crew at Matchbook. We'll have more on them on our weekend show. Looking ahead to week 11. Yeah, it's week 11.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, week 11 in the NFL season. We've got a really special episode next Wednesday night. Thanksgiving special. At least 4 or 5 guests. We're really excited for it, and it's going to be a great crack. It's going to be a really good show, and I don't know when we're going to record the picks for all these games because Colin's going to be in Chi-Town or Michigan, and Colin's and Brian's going to be buzzing after a Bows win on Sunday. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Who knows? Yep. Okay. Well, I think it's time to make our picks.
Squeeze the page, is it? Time to squeeze the page.
Hold on. Now, instead of us going like this, we're gonna go like this because it's easier.
Oh, of course,
it's easier for the see. Yeah. Right. Hold on. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Right. Why did I tweet that we're making our picks and we're gonna embarrass ourselves? Colin, start you off. Who have you got?
You almost have to caveat by you have to pick one or the other, and it's almost a coin toss at times. But I do think the Falcons they can't be as bad as they were in Dallas. They just can't be. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong, and even when Josh Rosen came in, it was horrid. So I don't think it'll be quite that bad for them. But I do think that the Patriots have found a way to be very, very effective, and I think it's going to take very good teams to beat the Patriots because they do play complementary football, and I just don't know if the Falcons are going to have enough, particularly when CP is probably not playing, going by what D'Orlando is saying. I think I just don't know if they'll be able to score enough points, and I think that's where they may ultimately fall down. I think that the Patriots, we talked about it. The rest of the league is throwing the ball. They're running it more than ever. They're making life easy for Mac Jones. They're easing him into the league. It's what you want to do. It's been very effective. Matt Judon he's brilliant in turn this season in particular, just getting to the QB, just wrecking game plans. And I think that unfortunately the Falcons have given up a good amount of sacks. I think if Judon stays healthy and he stays in the game, he's going to disrupt Matt Ryan and that passing game enough that the Patriots will win. Yeah, they'll certainly win by a touchdown, I would imagine. I'm going with the Patriots to win tonight.
On this show this evening, we've been very focused on the Falcons' offense, in particular, Matt Ryan, whether Cordell Patterson will play. We've discussed Pitts, we've discussed Russell Gage, even the Greek wide receiver name. What we haven't discussed is their defense, and poorly their defense has played of late. I mean, the game 2 weeks ago in New Orleans where they managed to win with a late field goal, their defense self-destructed in the second half. And last week, they gave up over 40 points. And if you recall red zone, I don't believe red zone even went to the game in the fourth quarter because the Cowboys took the foot off the gas and potentially could have put up another 2 scores if they really wanted it. And that team, again, similar enough when they went into Miami and they won again on a late field goal, which is why we felt they were turning the corner because they've been winning these games on late field goals as opposed to losing them, which we saw for large parts of last season. Defensively, they're poor. I would expect the Patriots to have a comfortable night in terms of moving the ball up and down the field on them. We've already discussed how Mac Jones is fitting into this offense, and he's got players now like Hunter Henry starting to feel their way in, and Johnny Smith feeling their way into this team, who are big marquee signings in the offseason in terms of 2 tight ends. We're seeing the wide receivers starting to, and ultimately for me as well, Harris is coming back tonight. And I know he didn't play last week against the Browns, but he's back, he's fresh. He's their main running back now. I'm similar to Colm. I can't see how this Falcons team will be able to put up enough points to live with this Patriots team. So for me, there it is. Patriots, just 6.5, 9. Yeah, I'd imagine they'll win by touchdown and more.
You gonna stay up and watch it live?
I'm considering it.
Ooh. Look who's got his 5-day from home in the Republic rule there. Boys, I'm very jealous. I have to go to work. I'm a key worker, so can't go to America.
I haven't seen an office since February 2020.
All right. Okay. You'd know by some of the matches I've been getting all day, boys. I tell you, like some of the music videos. I'm like, what's going on here? Anyway, I'm sure Brian's working very hard.
Oh, very hard.
Okay. It's a public forum.
Speaking of the hardest working man, the hardest working man in Ireland isn't here again. And no surprise to where he's going with his pick.
He's picking the Bucks. Sorry, he's picking the Patriots. Sorry, apologies. I meant to say that. Before I give my pick, if you are a member of our supporters club, fan club, there's tickets on sale tomorrow morning for that college game next year. Northwestern, Nebraska. Colin will buy you a hot dog at halftime. Okay. This is an intriguing game because a lot of Falcons fans thought last week to do, and you can ask D-Led this, they thought they were going to go down to Dallas, especially after Dallas got spanked by the Broncos. And let's be honest, they were destroyed by the Broncos. And they thought they were going to go down and get something from the game. Maybe if they didn't win the game, they would be close to winning it. And that didn't happen. So the Falcons are like the most Marmite team in the NFL. 1 week to turn it on. 1 week they're absolutely crap. Could they give the Patriots a run for their money tonight? That's the question I have been thinking about. I was sitting in work today and I was going, could they do it? The reality is I'm taking Mac Jones tonight to have a poor game. I think, and I'm not saying they're going to lose the game. I don't think Mac Jones will be as productive as he has been at home this season. And I think he'll struggle against guys like, what's the guy's name I have written down here? Dean Pease. I think he'll get to him very easily. And I just think that home atmosphere in Atlanta could take them to the edge of a victory. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I am saying it's going to happen. One of us is going to be wrong or right tonight, at least for the first time in at least 4 or 5 days. I reckon we're going to be sitting at about 4:20 tonight, and Younghoe Koo is going to kick the winning field goal. And the Patriots lose. The Patriots go to 6-5. And how does the talk start then? I'm taking the Falcons for the crack. I am a wee bit concerned that Cordell Patterson isn't playing. But you got Davis, Cal Pitts, 2 touchdowns. Matty Ice to have a nice game. And I'm really, really selling this to myself to watch live and not go to bed. What do we think with it?
You're talking about the crowd and the atmosphere. Again, the Falcons fans I've seen in the past where the gas or the air goes out that stadium very quickly if they go behind early and they don't get as involved as you'd like to be. So they really have to be leading, I would imagine, going into the fourth for the crowd to be
28-3 maybe going into.
Gosh, 28
Look, that was the worst night of my life. I know you were talking about there now. That's up there with the worst night. I was living in Manchester. I had to go to work the next morning. Had to get up an hour and a half early for work. That was the worst night of my life, and I'll say it. This Falcons team, Colin, they don't make any sense. They don't, which is why
they don't make any sense. If they were to win the game, like they're in the wildcard race. It's bizarre, But that's
why I think they're gonna win, and just stranger things have happened.
Oh, absolutely. Look, anything can happen, but they don't make any sense. Somebody who tends to make a lot of sense is Bill Belichick. He is meticulous in his approach to it, and therefore that's why I think that it will be the Patriots. If we're to move off tonight's game just for a moment, just to continue from my talking points on Monday, I don't know if people saw Tom Pelissero had his kind of list of head coaching candidates that came out today. Some intriguing names on it. He had a list of in around about. There's probably about 50 names on it. I think I saw probably in and around 29 teams. Not a single coach or coordinator from the Denver Broncos, which tells you all you need to know, really.
An hour and 17 minutes, Colin, and you somehow got the Broncos in. Fair play to you.
The Giants are in there, Brian.
Colin, I was going to make a point on that as well. I didn't read the list. I just did see the report before, but I was busy at the time, unlike what Michael thinks during the day. You know that most of those names on the list are being fed to him by people within the organization saying, these guys are looking for head coaching jobs next year. Can you conveniently put out this list as a shopping list for other teams to start pursuing those people? Because if you don't know the rule out there, it's no longer a situation where you have to wait till that team is out of the playoffs before you can start interviewing that candidate. They can start interviewing them during the off-season, their off-season, but obviously some teams are still in the playoffs, which I'd imagine doesn't really help the team going for the Super Bowl, but that's the reality of being involved in a successful team. You'll get an opportunity to go coach somewhere else. I don't know why you are worried about that particular list. I'd imagine your coach is safe, anyway.
I would imagine so. Given the ownership situation, I'd say he's sitting pretty.
Who's on the list as it happened, Colin? Do you know off the top of your head a couple of names of interest?
The Patrick Graham was there, certainly that I saw. Mike Kafka from the Chiefs, Todd Downing with the Titans, the Iowa State head coach I think was on there. Joe Brady was on there.
Joe Brady was with the Panthers as the offensive coordinator, and now he's only doing that like a couple of years. Because he came with Matt Rule, but I know he came from a different college background. But in terms of he's only come into the league 2 years as an offensive coordinator.
I mean, you never know with these things and how it's going to go and who ends up being a good head coach, because you can be a great kind of X's and O's guy, but trying to, I suppose, transition into being a head coach and bring a staff together, bring a team together is a very different skill set.
Declan's asking about watching to the Saints. No cap room, no additional picks to make a deal happen. Agree?
Is that us? I think that is that us for tonight.
I believe so. Yeah.
It's been a historic day. Could it be more historic tonight? Obviously, today is the 16th anniversary of Rod Little on Eamon Dunphy.
Have you got it there?
I have. No, I haven't.
I thought you were going to. I was convinced you were going to put that one on tonight. Sure, I even sent it to you today. No.
No, come on, Brian. That's out of order. There's no need for that.
You started it, Bill.
I don't know what time we're back. I think we're back Saturday night. Depends if Colin can get some Wi-Fi or LTE, as they call it in America, 5G. Are you coming on Saturday night, 10 o'clock, Colin? Or sorry, 4 p.m. Central?
That's the plan, yes, 4 p.m. Central.
4 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Ireland time, Saturday night. Colin will send everybody a Milky Way, the American version, over. Hopefully by next week, Colin will send you the address, send it over to. And I hope you enjoy the game tonight, boys, if you're watching it, and ladies as well, listening in. Enjoy the game. Thanks to Porig, thanks to D'Orlando, and obviously thanks to Jim as well. A good night's crack was had, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Yeah. Thank you.
Slán.
Yehovah.